All right. Welcome back, y'all. I'm your host, Jenavation. This show is about keeping our community together. It's about having honest conversations on what affect us, such as relationship, issues, sex, racism, politics, and so much more. So grab your coffee and join us on this wonderful Monday. We got topics for you this week between Obama versus the black men, between KEION Henderson talking about voodoo in Haiti and poor people. But we got the topic of Corey Holcomb on the Cam Newton show, talking about Trump and Kamala Harris. And the question of the day is freedom of speech really free? Uh, Make sure you click that subscribe button, the like button, and the share button on all your platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Let's go.
Powered by Riverside.
All right, y'all. Yeah, we're gonna get into these topics right here. Let's see. We're gonna start with Obama versus black men. Did y'all hear this man's speech last week talking to black men about voting, about how we need to vote for this woman, this black woman, for Kamala Harris? Black men need to vote. We need to vote. He kind of kind of went off a little bit. He was a bit disrespectful to the brothers, which, you know, I'm sure every black man that heard and watched this man speak was feeling very disrespected. Because I'm going to tell you, as a black woman watching this, I'm going to have to agree with the brothers on this one. Obama, brother, you did not have to do all that. You can speak your mind without being disrespectful. You know, I mean, I understand you want us to vote, right? We don't want Trump in the White House. We want Kamala, right? I get it, but there's a way to speak to people. And you, of all people, should know that. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, I do understand your frustrations. You know, it's so close to election time and people are nervous. Y'all are nervous. You know, we want these people to go out here and vote. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't have to get behind a mic and talk to people any kind of way. I mean, I know you from the south side of Chicago and all that, but there's a time and place for everything, and that was not it. that just was not it. I do agree with a few things he did say, but at the end of the day, there's a way to do it, and you ain't have to go after the black man for that. Cause I guarantee you, black men ain't really trying to them not voting for Kamala really ain't got shit to do with her being a woman. Okay, they just want to make sure that they're gonna be taken care of. You know, politicians always coming out with saying what they're gonna say or saying what they're gonna do, and then when they finally get voted in, they don't do what they say they're gonna do. So can't be so disrespectful towards, especially to the black man. And Obama, you should, of all people, a black man should understand that. Boy, did he go off or did he go off? He didn't have to say all that. He was doing too much. He was way too extra for me. And I'm a sister saying that. He was doing a little too much. Like, I'm sure every black man that was watching and listening to him speak was like, bruh, we can take this to the streets. We take this to the streets. Who you talking to, bruh? I don't care if you was former president of the United States. You ain't do too much shit for black people when you did the 8 years. Don't be coming up out here talking shit. Oh man, that was a lot. Even though I agree with some of the stuff he did say, but again, there's a way to do it, and that was not the way to do it. I'm sorry. Let's see what there's another brother out here talking out the side of his mouth. I respect this brother. I respect Obama. Okay, I do, but again, sometimes you need to correct people, and he need to be corrected on this. And there's another brother that need to be corrected. He's very respected, but he needs to be corrected. Okay, Pastor KEION Henderson. Look here, man. I respect you as a pastor, but if you are not educated on certain stuff, then you don't need to be talking about certain stuff. Okay, you need to read your history on Haiti and read some books about voodoo, because I don't know why Christians feel the need to come out and talk trash about other rituals and practices, especially of Black people and of African people, African descent, African rituals, spirituality. Maybe because we was taught to do that. This is 2024, and Black folks are starting to go back into their African roots as far as spirituality. They're not buying this Christian stuff no more. Enough is enough. So, Pastor KEION, you need to educate yourself before you speak on certain things. That's just my opinion. I hope his wife, Shawnee, who I respect, pulled him to the side and said, you know what, you need to be careful with what you say, because people might be offended. Now, there's a lot of stuff that he says that I agree with, but this, nah, you educate yourself. But I will have to say to the people that is coming after him, we don't know our history either. So we need to educate ourselves just like he needs to educate himself. Like we don't know everything, just like he don't know everything. So everybody needs to be re-educated on a lot of stuff. Okay, the name of this episode is the misspoken word, because everybody is misspeaking on a lot of stuff, and Pastor KEION Henderson is one of them. He misspoke. Another thing he talked about was poor people, how we don't need to give our money to poor people, and we need to give it to the church. Let me tell you something about that. I halfway agree with that. Steve Harvey said kind of the same thing, and it was part of a joke. He said his father told him, so the best thing you can do for poor people is not be one of them, because if you give all your stuff away, then what? Then you're going to be asked out just like them. I somewhat agree, but I also don't agree with you need to give all your money to the church either. I mean, that ain't like a must. That ain't something you must do. Tired of these pastors coming out talking about you must give to the church. And no, that is something that's supposed to be a choice. Okay? That is supposed to be a choice. And we're going right back to the voting thing as far as Obama's again. You mad about Black men voting. Let me tell y'all something. It's a choice. People did not die for us to vote. They died for us to have the right to have a choice on whether or not we want to vote. Okay? We have the right to make a choice. If I choose not to vote, it's because it's my right. I shouldn't have to vote because because it's mandated. Like that's nah, we want to have the freedom to have a choice. That's actually what we really fought for. So now if you disagree with me, you disagree with me. But I really do believe we fought, our ancestors fought for us to have a choice to vote. Now, is voting important? Yes, it is, because we got people trying to run this country all kinds of ways and any old kind of way. And if we don't vote, then all kinds of stuff could happen. So but then that falls down to, let's educate ourselves on everything. You got to hear what everybody got to say, all the politicians, not just for president, but your Supreme Court. You got your governors, your mayors, your senators, your councilmen. You got to hear everybody speak. You need to know what their policies are. You need to know what they stand for. You need to know what they really are about before you cast in your vote. This is why it's important to educate yourself on everything. If you're going to vote, least you can do is find out who is who, and what they're about. Find out everything that you possibly can about these people before it's time for you to cast in your vote. Now, if you decide that you don't want to vote, that's your choice. That is your choice. I wasn't even going to speak on voting because I'm not going to vote this election. because it's my choice, and I don't believe either party is going to do anything for black folks, and I feel like either party is a bunch of bull. So that's just my choice. People said, and then there's people that that's trying to get people to vote. The first thing they want to say, if you're not gonna vote, then you don't need to say anything. Well, me not voting, it says a lot. It says that it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't care what's going on. Sometimes it does means that I do care about what's going on, and and I'm not going to vote for no BS. I'm not going to vote for no BS. It's as simple as that. Now, I can't tell anybody else what to do. I can't sit here on this podcast and tell y'all need to go out there and vote, because it is, that's your duty to vote. And no, I'm not going to do that. Your duty is to make a choice. Do what you feel is best for you and your family. As simple as that. It's so simple. But if you're going to make a choice, at least you can do is educate yourself so you know exactly how to make that choice. You can't just go around and be like, you need to do this, you need to do that. No. No, we're not doing that. No, I'm sorry. No way, no how. No. Sorry, it is what it is. I just can't. But then that falls in line with, freedom of speech. That's my question for this week. Is freedom of speech really free? Do we have freedom of speech? And while y'all think about that question, we're going to go right on into our Black business highlights. And again, y'all think about that question. Let me know in the comments what you all think about freedom of speech. And do you think that Pastor KEION Henderson was out of line when he talked about voodoo? Are you a Christian yourself, and do you believe in it? Or do you think people should educate themselves on something before they speak? How do you feel about Obama going off on black men and about voting? So just let me know exactly what you think, and we will be right back.
Powered by Riverside.
Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Jenavation. This show is about keeping our community together. It's about having honest conversations on what is affecting us, such as relationship issues, sex, relationships, love, marriage, parenthood, racism, politics, and so much more. So grab your coffee and join in the conversation. We're not only here to discuss these issues, but to also find solutions. But first, poetry. Hey, yo, what's up? What's up? Let's give Black Business Highlights. Here, we are here to highlight a few Black businesses right here on the podcast. So if you have a Black business such as a clothing line, new music, new books, new show or podcast, self-care products, etc. You can hit us up by emailing us at jenavation@gmail.com. It will be right here in the link and underneath this episode. All you gotta do is hit us up. Make sure you put in the subject line BBH request. That will be the Black Business Hotline request. And we will shout your business out. Make sure you have your name, the business name, phone number, social media platforms, and website. We all we are all about growing together personally and professionally. So hit us up right here on Black Men's Highlights on the podcast. Y'all, check out our website and or download the app and become a member for exclusive content at www.thegenerationnetwork.com. We have the Jenavation Book Club where we meet up every Saturday for our weekly discussions on the latest book club selection. We have a poet support community group where we provide poetry prompts, poetry history, information for poets who are struggling personally and professionally. Side note, if you feel you need a more intimate and personal one-on-one information without the group, you can join us on WhatsApp. Info link in bio. Check out our poetry blog and get yourself a book of poetry. I have several on the site right now. All you have to do is click on the link to make a purchase. New book coming soon. Online store with coffee mugs, t-shirts, backpacks is also open for business. So get yourself or a loved one something you think they will like. We have a variety to choose from. Make sure you also sign up for our weekly newsletter to get exclusive updates on what we're doing at the JenavationNetwork.com website and app. Do you want to do more with your poetry? Like start a poetry business, uh, but you have no idea how to start? Well, I have a solution for you. The Jenavation Network has teamed up with the Poet Life and joined their community at poetrybusinessnetwork.com. Come join us to get all of the exclusive information you need to start a business with your poetry. There are live courses, poetry business workbooks and journals, one-on-one coaching and training, spoken word gig opportunities, and while you're at it, you can get yourself some dope poet life gear to represent yourself in style while you do it. For more information, go to poetrybusinessnetwork.com. Become part of the Poet Life family, along with the Jenavation Network. See you there. What's up, y'all? Do y'all need a platform where you need to network with other Black businesses? Well, I have an opportunity for you. All you gotta do is go to www.forbesblk.com, a platform and community that amplifies the voices of Black entrepreneurs, professionals, leaders, and creators. Their community of exceptional leaders of color are breaking down barriers, creating more equitable economies, and driving a new culture of connection, collaboration, and change. All you got to do again is to go to www.forbesblk.com and become a certified member where you can connect with all kinds of Black businesses, Black business owners, again, creators, leaders, professionals, entrepreneurs, just like yourself. I guarantee you, you will not regret it. This will be a wonderful opportunity for you and your business. So go to www.forbesblk.com.
by Riverside.
Book ever written, because it was written by the Supreme, whose knowledge is so far above us that it commands us to bow down to him and respect him for the life that he gave, that he gave each creature, and the direction that he gives to that gift, so that in the creature's life, he will do what God asked it to do, and it does what it should affect. And the universe is the life of the creature is balanced.
And we are back. We are back. We are back. This show is about keeping our communities together. It's about having honest conversations on what affect us, relationship issues, sex, racism, politics, and so much more. Yep. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you are listening to, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Again, make sure you click that subscribe button. Yes, let's grow this platform. Send it to all your friends and loved ones. Tell them to tune in every Monday for our show, the Dashiki Mentality Podcast. Yes. So to recap real quick, we just discussed Obama versus black men, how he's talking out the side of his mouth a little bit, being a little bit disrespectful in his speech to black men about voting for Kamala Harris. I personally think he went a little too far and he could have did it in a more respectful way. I mean, I understood why, but at the end of the day, you need to be professional. Uh, and then we just talked about Pastor KEION Henderson, who, again, you misspoke about some things that you need to educate yourself on. You need to educate yourself a little bit more on Haiti and Haiti's history. You need to do some research on about voodoo so you can have a better understanding of what it is and what it's really about. Because white people really messed us up when it came to history and our spirituality. Okay, they really did mess us up, and we really think that everything that white people taught us is the truth, and whatever is outside of that is not the truth. But we really need to educate ourselves. Okay, it's not just Pastor KEION need to educate himself, but it's all of us. All of us need to educate ourselves. Point blank in a period. And so, with that being said, we're going to continue our conversation. Our next person we're going to talk about is Corey Holcomb doing the Cam Newton show. I like Corey Holcomb, the comedian, if y'all don't know. I like him because he's raw and uncut. He too is a bit can be a little out of pocket as well when it comes to certain topics, but at least he's telling the truth. Sometimes, the truth ain't always pretty. Do you want the pretty lies or do you want the ugly truth? Which one is it? Because he's going to give it to you raw. He's going to give it to you barefoot and raw. I'm just saying. And just like how Obama needs to be a little bit more respectful, so does Corey Holcomb. He needs to be a little bit more respectful when he's addressing certain issues. But at the end of the day, at least he's telling the truth. A lot of us don't know or don't want to hear the truth. So there was a lot of stuff that he talked about that that I actually really agreed with. He said a lot of things that I agreed with. Could have said it in a different way. Like I said, respect is everything. You want to be disrespectful, ain't nobody gonna want to hear nothing you got to say. You can be raw and uncut and be respectful. Being disrespectful you're not going to be able to reach as many people as you would like. Cam Newton, I'm actually surprised that Cam Newton had him on the show. But see, he actually had some really raw and uncut people on his show that I actually glad he put on the show. I'm actually glad he put Corey Holcomb on there. I'm glad he put Iyanla Vanzant on there. I'm glad he put Shannon Sharp on there. Okay? I'm actually glad he put Dr. Bryant, which Corey Holcomb, expressed his thoughts on her being on there. I can't say I agree. I don't agree with everything he said, but it did, however, made me think and do a little bit more research on some of the stuff that he did talk about. Like he did talk about Dr. Bryant, about how she's not a real doctor. I did do a little bit of research on her, and from what I understand, she's an influencer. She's I guess she practices psychology. I mean, I don't know if she actually has a degree in psychology. I know she went to a couple of universities, so maybe she does have the right to say doctor. But I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on her. So I'm gonna back up off of her and do my own research before I say anything. So I'm kind of glad he had Corey Holcomb on the show, but he's very raw and uncut, and a lot of the things he said was actually true. Again, do you want the pretty lie or the ugly truth? That's all. That's all I can say about that. Trump and Kamala Harris doing these interviews in the past few weeks. The past week has been very interesting. Trump is just really talking out of his ass. He talking way too much out of his ass. But I think he's doing it because people like it. People like ignorance. That's why it's flashed all over TV and all over the news. So, and it's being talked about. I mean, it's very strategic, ain't it? I'm just saying. Kamala did interview with Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club. She addressed a lot of the lies that was told about her, as told by Donald Trump himself. I personally would have liked if she talked more about her policies, but that's just me. You notice how she's not necessarily talking about. She talked about one policy, which is supposed to cater to black men, and here we are again talking about catering to black men. It's kind of like we don't know, why are we separating black folks? What we're gonna do for black women? What we're gonna do for black men? Why not just what we're gonna do for black people? Period. Why are we separating and dividing into groups? It's just, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. And you know what? A few months ago, people have been talking about Project 2025. I recently watched a video. I watched a few things. I watched a video uh, on Project 2025. Watched how black men responded to it, and they talked about what the policy is. And let me tell you something. If Trump wins, this policy is definitely going to go into effect. It has already gone into effect. People seem to act like they don't know this, but it has. I mean, look at Florida and look at Texas. There's quite a few things that's in Project 2025 that's already happening right now before they even presented us the Project 2025 in the first place. They already got stuff, in effect and already happening right now. So they already got the bans on abortion. They already got the Black history not being taught in schools. They already got the book bans. It's already in effect in like 4 or 5 different states already before Trump is even, you know. So it's already in effect. Which brings me to talk about 5 beautiful black women, intelligent black women from FlyNubianMoney.com. They did an episode on YouTube talking about Project 2025 and some of the things that they did say that didn't quite it kind of made me give them a side eye just a little bit, which is why I said that first thing before I even mentioned them. about how these policies are already in place. So there's one lady on there talked about how this is just a plan and it's not quite, ready for it to be put into law. And it's not the, in front of the legislators on the desk. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. It is. Especially, again, if some of the stuff is already in place right now with Florida and Texas. Okay, they already got the abortion bans in place right now. They already got the books out of the schools and out of the libraries right now. So it's already in place. It's already most of it is getting ready to be signed into law if Trump wins. So one of the ladies was kind of trying to make it seem like it seemed like, okay, they was giving you what it was about, but they was kind of trying to sugarcoat a lot of it as well. Instead of the only one, they was mostly scratching the surface instead of really digging deep like I thought they would. They could have dug a little deeper into the roots of the situation and stop. I wish people would stop brushing over everything. Stop just scratching the surface. Get down to the roots of it. And we have to consider everything, any type of possibility of anything that could happen, especially with this Project 2025, because it affects all of us. It's going to take your medical. It's going to take your money. It's going to mess with the elders. It's going to take your rights. Literally, this is slavery in 2025 if this goes into effect. Point blank, period. There is no answer but about it. Stop scratching the surface. Dig deep into the roots and just call a thing a thing. If it looks like a duck and act like a duck, then guess what? Aflac. Okay? Because Project 2025 is a real thing. And it's going to affect everybody, especially black folks. So I encourage everybody, if you haven't read it already, go ahead and try to find, these documents and read them. Really read them. Don't just read a few things. That's what black people seem to be doing. That's why they said there's a famous quote that says, "You want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book." And this policy is like over 500, 600 pages, I believe. And of course, niggas that don't read is not going to read all them pages, but this is something that you need to read, because when shit hit the fan, you're going to be looking stupid trying to figure out what the fuck happened. Read the document so you know what's going on. I'm just saying. But I want to send a huge shout out to Fly Nubian Money. Okay, these beautiful women on YouTube that talk about real stuff. Now, I agreed with a lot of stuff they say, but there's a few things I did not agree with. But then, you're not supposed to agree with everything. But I do believe these beautiful black women, they are very beautiful, very intelligent black women, and that I encourage you to go listen to them speak on different topics. Okay, most definitely. Yes, yes, yes. My final thoughts on overall the unspoken word, which is the title of this episode 5. Again, before I move on with my final thought, I want to thank everybody for rocking with me and for listening. I really do appreciate it. My final thoughts on overall: educate yourself on everything as much as possible before you speak on a subject or subjects. The more you know, the better your opinion will be. I think you should be very mindful with what you say. You don't have to be disrespectful to tell the truth. You can tell the truth and be mindful and be respectful. I want you to make better choices, because it's making better choices affects you and your family. So if you want to vote, make sure you educate yourself on all of this involved as far as the voting and the candidates, and then make your choice. At least that's how I think. I think you should be very careful by educating yourself on who and what their policies are, and then you'll be able to make good choices for you and your family. And freedom of speech. Thing about freedom of speech, Charlemagne the God said something that I actually kind of agree with. And he said something about freedom of speech that again I agree with. Hold on, I'm about to find it. Oh no, I am so sorry. That was a church service that just popped up on my phone. Okay, no, we're not gonna do that. But he did say something that I kind of agree with, and this is what uh Charlemagne the God said. I'm going to end this podcast show with this. Um, so before I play it, let me just say again, thank you so much for tuning in this week, having this honest conversation about these different topics. Make sure you click that subscribe button, like, and share on all of your platforms. We are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Make sure you share on all of your platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever platform you are on. Share with your friends. And thank you again so much for rocking with the Dashiki Mentality podcast. We are going to close out with this clip of Charlemagne the God.
Talk about the people that be running their mouth on social media. Correct. A lot of these people talking crazy just aren't worth suing. And I just want to stress that suing a multi-million-dollar corporation makes sense for a multi-millionaire. Suing some random on a YouTube page does not. But trust and believe, those folks can and will get sued too. So you really have to watch yourself on these platforms unless you got money for a lawyer, unless you got money and assets to give up when you lose these lawsuits, because you will. And I just want to stress to everybody, there is no such thing as free speech. That is the biggest crock malarkey that this country has ever told us. There is no such thing as free speech. There is a cost to every word that comes out of your mouth. Are you willing to pay the price? Like you said, there's people out there, and don't follow the trend where I'm just going to talk about people. I'm going to get my page lit, and I'm going to make all this money because, like you said, there's no such thing as free speech. There's no such thing as free speech. To every word that comes out of your mouth. Sometimes that cost is a punch in the face. Talk about the people that you're running.
This is the Dashiki Mentality podcast, and we're out. See you next week.